So here we go. We got deculturation, running cover for Cornball West, running cover for Chinese operative and Southern Protestant circus clown, aka real life Uncle Ruckus, Gerald Horne, looks and talks like Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks. And then he's too afraid to call Jimmy Dore what he is, a racist Irish degenerate. He calls him racist white man, but white man's not enough. You want to know why? Deculturation? Calling him a below average white man is not enough. Because there's different types of white, right? The Irish are different than, say, the Albanians or the Dagestanis or the Chechens or the Tatars or the Bosnians, right? What race is Jimmy Dore? Jimmy Dore is of the Irish race, right? So call him what he is. A racist Irish man. That's what Jimmy Dore. Look, this man looks Irish. You can see his face looks Irish, right? He has Irish facial features. Call him what he is, deculturation. I don't know why you're too chicken to call things as it is. I don't know, maybe someone paid you some money or something, but I don't know, man. You got to start calling things like they are. So let's see what deculturation says about the Irish man, Jimmy Dore.
Party running on trans rights and calling Donald Trump and his supporters white supremacists, they can already vote for Democrats. The role of a third party is to focus not on the identity politics that divide us, but on core economic issues that unite us along class lines, like Christian Smalls did at Staten Island. Do you think he led with LGBTQ, trans rights, and white supremacy? Or do you think he organized along class lines? That's what we have to do. You have to organize, meet people where they are. So what is your plan to organize?
All right. First of all, only a mediocre, no, that's too good. Only a hack like Jimmy Dore, a white man, would be born.
Not just white. You got to be specific, because Bosnians are white, Albanians are white, some Tatars are white, some Chechens and Ingushetians and Avars and Laks, people from Dagestan are white. You got to call it like it is, deculturation. He's Irish. The Irish man. The Irish man has a pattern of racism, deculturation. Not just white, Irish. Irish man has a... Because there's so white, like, what is white? In America, non-Hispanic whites are everything from Icelandic to Iranian down to Yemeni. Like, that's a big group of people. And obviously, the U.S. Census is racist towards West Asians, and I would know because I'm 49% West Asian, including 20% Assyrian, 15% Palestinian, 6% Yemeni, and 4% Saudi, and 2% Georgian. So I would know this firsthand. And then even in Europe, there's like groups like Albanians, Bosnians, Tatars, Ingushetians, Laks, Avars, Chechens, Circassians. Like, not all whites are like the Irish. I'm just going to say, I know it sounds corny, but you got to call him what he actually is. Jimmy Dore's a racist Irishman. He's a racist leprechaun, right? You got to call him out as being Irish, because he is no different than critical IMMA, Conor McGregor, Dan Sullivan, the other Dan Sullivan who was mayor of Anchorage, right? He's no different than them. And he's from the same country as them too, right? In terms of ideology and in terms of nationality, he is no different than them. So the fact that decoloration is too afraid to call out Jimmy Dore as what he is, a racist Irishman, like, why is this deculturation guy scared of the Irish all of a sudden? You know what I mean? So the Irish pay him a little bit of money, you know what I mean? So yeah.
No matter what your opinion of Dr. West, because I have plenty of criticism.
Oh, you mean Dr. Cornel West? Cornball West? The guy who vilifies Hamas, the guy who shills for settler colonialism, the dirty Southern Protestant, whose dad was a defense contractor and whose grandpa was a Baptist preacher. That man. Oh, and then let's talk about, let's do a little early life check on Cornel West. Cornel West, aka Cornball West. Right? Cornball West. Cornel Ronald West, born June 2, 1953, is a U.S.-born grifter and circus clown, right? Man was born 2 June 1953 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He has an MBA, he has a BA from Harvard and an MA from Princeton and a PhD from Princeton. How many wives has he had, dude? Hilda Holloman, married 1977, divorced. Ramona Santiago, married 1981, divorced 1986. Eleni Gebre Amlak, married 1992, divorced. Leslie Kotkin, married 2015, divorced 2018. And several of these women he owes many, many dollars of child support to. Anahida Mahdavi, married 2021. This man has more wives, has been married more times than Uncle Nino from Jersey Shore. What kind of a man does that tell you about him? You think he's a grifter? He can't even be faithful to his wife. So this man was born June 2, 1953 in Tulsa. He's a dirty Southerner, grew up in Sacramento. Again, Sacramento's kind of a libertarian shithole, if you want to know my opinion on it. So his mom was an educator. His dad, Clifton Lewis West Jr., was a general contractor for the DOD. So this man, from birth, was attached to the deep state, is attached to the deep state at the hip. His grandpa, Clifton L. West Sr., was a pastor of the Tulsa Metropolitan Baptist Church. This man is attached to Protestant Zionism and the deep state at the hip. He is a dirty Southern Protestant degenerate. And I'm anti-Protestant. I think Protestantism is a mental illness, right? And that Protestants are degenerate. Right? I am deeply anti-Protestant, right? And so this man went to Harvard, so he's a bougie academic, and he said his Protestantism prevented him from joining the Black Panthers. Again, this man is a Protestant degenerate and an Islamophobe. Right? Then he went to Princeton. So again, he is a clown. And then he became an assistant professor at Union Theological Seminary. And he was a W.E.B. Du Bois Fellow at Harvard. He had a fellowship literally named after a Zionist. That's crazy, right? Do you really trust this man to teach you about Africa? Do you really trust a Southern Protestant clown who sold out to the Ivy League to teach you about Africa? No, I wouldn't. Again, I'm not from Africa. My family's Asian and European. Right? So, West is a member of the liberal Zionist DSA. He's also a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, so he's a frat bro douchebag. And he's a member of the World Policy Council. So, let's Google Alpha Phi Alpha. Egyptian symbolism. This is like Shirk This is straight up shirk. He's involved in a fraternity that does shirk. Like, this is crazy, bro. And let's talk about their World Council, which sounds like some Illuminati shit. So in the Middle East, in terms of Palestine, the World Policy Council, which Cornel West is a part of, is liberal Zionist. They're a liberal Zionist. Right? Which doesn't even address settler colonialism. Their position is some weird liberal Zionist kumbaya bullshit. And as somebody who's 15% Palestinian, I take big offense to this. And they're a think tank founded in 96 in DC at Howard University. You know, the headquarters of circus clowns in the black community. And what is the network of spiritual progressives? What is their view on Palestine? Oh, they're founded by a Zionist rabbi, Michael Philip Lerner. Man's a Zionist. Man's a liberal Zionist. Tikkun magazine, that's a Zionist publication. Right? So, and he co-founded Michael Lerner's widow, Kat Zavis, liberal Zionist, and liberal Zionist rabbi Michael Lerner co-founded the new network of spiritual progressives, which is a liberal Zionist NGO. West is on the advisory board of International Bridges to Justice, another liberal Zionist think tank. So, again, Cornel West is a grifter. He's a grifter. There's no two ways about it. Dude, this is crazy. So, West has drawn criticism for his spending habits, having been in debt often and owing the IRS $483,000 as of 2023. Some of the spending has gone towards extramarital affairs. So this guy's basically a black Silvio Berlusconi with some girlfriends and ex-wives, claiming that he impregnates and abandons women. Dude, he's like a Casanova. You know what I mean? That's crazy. He's like your baby daddy type of guy. So, 2008, Cornball West supported Cornball West is a liberal Zionist, right? Cornball West supported Barack Obama in 2008. Cornel West supported Zionist settler Bernie Sanders in 2015. And in 2020. And here's the thing about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a Zionist settler. Let's do an early life check. So Bernie Sanders is a Polish Jew. He's a Polish Jew, right? Both his parents were Polish Jews. Where the fudge does it say he lived on a kibbutz in 1963? But Bernie is a Zionist settler. Bernie lived on a kibbutz. So Bernie Sanders voted for the AMUF, the Authorization of Use of Military Force Against Terrorists, in 2001. So again, Bernie voted to fund the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Bernie voted to fund the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan. Oh, look. 1963, Bernie Sanders and Deborah Schilling Messing, whom he met in college, volunteered for several months on Zionist kibbutz Sha'ar HaMakim. Again, Bernie Sanders is a Zionist settler. So Cornel West actively supported a Zionist settler. Bernie Sanders, in 1963, in cooperation with the Labor Zionist Youth Movement, Hashomer Hatzair, Bernie Sanders and his first wife volunteered at Shar HaKamim in northern Palestine. Bernie Sanders is a Zionist settler. Bernie Sanders should be arrested and put in prison, in a Polish prison, in Poland, where he's originally from, because he's a Zionist settler. And he likes the Swedish model of settler colonialism. Like, this is cringe, man. Where's his foreign policy? And then he tried to sheepdog Palestinians and their allies from Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon into voting for Holocaust Harris. He tried to sheepdog Yemeni allies of Palestinians into voting for Holocaust Harris. Again, Bernie's also a two-stater. Bernie is also a two-stater. Bernie wants to disarm the Palestinian resistance. That's why he supports a ceasefire. Bernie voted to fund the invasion of Iraq. So the fact that Bernie Sanders is a Zionist settler and Bernie and his first wife, Deborah Schilling Messing, both were Zionist settlers in Palestine, in northern Palestine. And the fact that circus clown Cornel West was shilling for Bernie Sanders, that's a big red flag on Cornel West. Oh, and don't even get me started on his ties to Jill Stein, the liberal Zionist, who has ties to the Goldman Sachs funded People's Forum, right? And the fact that Jill Stein did an interview with Zionist propaganda outlet Haaretz in 2024, thus making her a Zionist normalizer, and was part of a Zionist synagogue in Chicago. And the fact that Jill Stein opposes extraditing Zionist settlers shows us that Jill Stein's a Zionist. So by way of supporting Jill Stein, Cornball West is a liberal Zionist. Cornball West is a liberal Zionist. The fact that Cornel West... Oh, and let's talk about Ajamu. Let's talk about Ajamu Baraka. Because that man is a war criminal. That man is a Zionist cuck. Right? That man is a Zionist cuck. Ajamu Baraka. Ajamu Baraka committed war crimes in Vietnam. Ajamu Baraka was involved in the 60s and 70s with organized crime. The U.S. military is organized crime. Ajamu Baraka, from 2004 to 2011, was founding executive director of the U.S. Human Rights Network. Baraka has served on several boards, including liberal Zionist group Amnesty International. Now, Ajamu is a faith washer. 100% a faith watcher. So, Ajamu Baraka participated in a faith-washing campaign, a faith-washing and liberal Zionist normalization campaign in Palestine as a member of a African heritage delegation that was organized by liberal Zionist normalization and faith-washing group Peace Builders, Interfaith Peace Builders. Again, Ajamu Baraka is a liberal Zionist and a Zionist normalizer. Right? And then, let's see if he's wearing an earring. Oh, look at this. Ajamu Baraka is wearing an earring. What does it say about a man when a man wears an earring? You know what I mean? Hint, hint. Does he maybe like rainbow flags, if you know what I mean? Just saying, right? So, Ajamu Baraka is a faith washer and a Zionist normalizer. So, the fact that Cornball West supported Bernie Sanders, supported Jill Stein, supported Ajamu Baraka, and then he chose to run in MPP, and obviously there were dysfunction in leadership of MPP. There were sexual misconduct and sexual harassment allegations against party founder Nick Brana, who is, again, another deep stater as well. That's weird how it doesn't go to his own. And again, he was accused by Zainab Day, former MPP executive director, of sexual harassment, and that was corroborated by Paula Jean Swearengin. Right? That's another sign that Cornball West is a grifter. And then let's talk about West's politics. So West calls himself a non-Marxist. And he's been the honorary chairman of the DSA, the Democratic Scumbags of the douchebag scumbags of America, a Zionist organization. which he's described as the first multiracial socialist organization close enough to my politics that I could join, right? And he's argued, and he supported the overthrow of Saddam, and he called it desirable. West has argued that the overthrow of Saddam Hussein's ugly totalitarian regime was desirable, but that the Iraq War was the result of dishonest manipulation on the part of the Bush administration. So again, Cornel West supported the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Cornel West supported the overthrowing of Saddam and the destabilization of Iraq, right? And then Cornel West has ties to Russell Simmons, who has sexual misconduct allegations against him. Is he doing a prison time for this? Russell Simmons should be doing prison time for this. You know, the fact that Cornel West has worked with and was a presidential advisor, campaign advisor for CIA operative Al Sharpton. You know, oh, and also Sharpton pushes the LGBTQ agenda. And Sharpton opposes defunding the cops. That's crazy. And Sharpton is Pentecostal. And then Baptist. So Sharpton is a Protestant degenerate and a Zionist cuck. But Cornel West had no problem working with Al Sharpton. And Cornel West and Zionist Rabbi Michael Lerner engaged in active civil disobedience by sitting across the street from the U.S. State Department in solidarity with Palestinian suffering and Zionist settlers. In solidarity with Palestinian suffering and Zionist settler brothers and sisters, West said, we must keep in touch with the humanity of both sides. Again, this isn't the first time that Cornel West would shill for Zionist settlers. Cornel West is a liberal Zionist, a Zionist normalizer, and a Zionist collaborator. Right? And the fact that he uses the framework of 1967, so in May 2007, West joined a demonstration against the injustices faced by the Palestinian people resulting from the Zionist occupation and to bring attention to this 40-year travesty of justice. Again, liberal Zionist framing using 1967, the both sides sort of thing, that's Zionist normalization. So we can tell here that Cornel West is a liberal Zionist. The fact that he's collaborating with Zionist Michael Lerner, the fact that he's playing the both sides game and trying to normalize Zionist settlers and Zionist settler colonialism. Again, Cornball West is a liberal Zionist. And he's an opportunist and grifter. And again, there we go. Cornel West wants to disarm the Palestinian armed resistance with a ceasefire. So this is who Cornball West really is, man. And the fact that he supported Bernie Sanders, the fact that he supported Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka, the fact that he did a photo op with Zionist Nina Turner shows us everything we need to know about him. Cornel West is a liberal Zionist. So I don't know why the goofball deculturation, again, this is why we don't really trust the Latino community. The Arab community doesn't really trust the Latino community, because the Latino community will sell us out to Zionists like Cornel West and Gerald Horne. I don't know why deculturation is like shilling. He's shilling for Cornball West. Fuck Cornball West. Why would anybody shill for Cornball West in their right mind unless they're a liberal Zionist? I think deculturation, this is another instance. Again, we talked about him running cover for Zionist settler Ilan Pappé. This is another instance of where he runs cover for a liberal Zionist.
Would be bold enough to go on a rant scolding Dr. West.
I would call Cornel West a Zionist cuck. I would call him a dumb, low IQ, dirty, Southern Protestant degenerate. I would call him an opportunist. I would call him a grifter. I bring up all the baby mamas he has and all the money of child support he owes. I'd play dirty with Cornball West. I'd probably play out, but from a left-wing point of view, and I would definitely play more dirty than Jimmy Dore, right? And so here you go. There's the controversy about Cornel West taking money from right-wing douchebag Harlan Crow. And here's a statement, 8:14 a.m., 19 October 2023. As an independent candidate and a free black man, I accept donations within the limit of no PACs or corporate interest groups that have strings attached. I am unbossed. Despite my political differences with Brother Harlan Crow, who is an anti-Trump Republican, I've known him in a non-political setting for some years, and I pray for his precious family. I find it hypocritical for those who highlight his $3,300 donation to my campaign, but can't say a mumbling word about the PAC-driven dollars to support the genocidal attack in Gaza sponsored by their candidate. I'm fighting for truth, justice, and love. Onward. Peace. Hashtag truth, justice, and love. Hashtag peace now. Hashtag end the genocide. So he's using the genocide and settler colonialism in Palestine to try to justify the fact that he got money from right-wing douchebag Harlan Crow. Again, Cornel West, the liberal Zionist grifter, the dirty Southern Protestant degenerate who has like 7 or 8 baby mamas, is using my country and the situation going on in my country as an excuse for taking money from a right-wing billionaire douchebag. And this is why we call Cornball West a dirty Southern Protestant liberal Zionist deep state grifter. That's what he is. So why is deculturation shilling for this dirty Southern Protestant who is also a liberal Zionist grifter, cheats on multiple women, and just a bad person altogether? That doesn't make sense. And to make it worse, he's going to quote later in this video Chinese operative Gerald Horne. He's going to say, "Ni hao, Gerald Horne. Shusha for having me on here," right?
About how he speaks about white supremacy, how he shows support to the LGBTQIA community.
Dude, Cornball West is a liberal Zionist. Cornball West is a white supremacist. He just happens to have a black face.
Wow, how pathetic is that? How bold. Only a hack of a white man can do that.
Hack of an Irish man, because I know some good Albanians. I know some good Bosnians. I know some Chechens and some Ingushetians and Dagestanis. And they don't act like the dirty Irish.
No shame, no hesitation, no humility.
class issues are crucial.
He's got a bigger gap tooth than Michael Strahan there.
I mean, let's be honest. Would anyone that isn't a white nationalist?
So again, it's pathetic that deculturation is shilling for liberal Zionist Southern Protestant circus clown Cornel West. Now you got because in a second he's gonna show for the real Uncle Life ruckus Gerald Horne, who's a Chinese operative and a cuck.
As people suckling at his tits to defend him. And that's why he's so comfortable defending Elon Musk throwing up a Nazi salute. Let's phobia. Tits to defend him. And that's why he's so comfortable defending Elon Musk throwing up a Nazi salute. Let's go back to RBN. Look, Jimmy Dore says it. You're gonna talk about trans people? And he's transphobic as fuck. He's proud of this. His audience is transphobic. Let's look at what RBN had to say when their audience talked about this transphobia.
Ironically, JB Fontleroy promotes the LGBTQ agenda.
Jimmy Dore is how he shit on trans people. I honestly have a problem with that myself. I'm going to say that Jimmy Dore really disappointed me on that as a gay person.
Again, JB Fontleroy promotes the LGBTQ agenda, which is probably why he's friends with Irish Nazi Jimmy Dore.
So, yeah, I'm just...
Again, JB Fontleroy. JB Fontleroy is a Zionist grifter like Cornball West. Again, Zionist normalizer, normalizing the Zionist entity under the guise of the LGBTQ agenda, normalizing Zionist settlers under the guise of the LGBTQ agenda, promoting Zionist and U.S. war criminal, Zionist criminal, and member of organized crime gang, Tariq Shabazz, who was a former U.S. Navy person, again, part of organized crime. So J.B. Fontleroy, much like his associate, Jimmy Dore, they're clowns. They're big clowns. And they're both Zionist cucks. Cornball West is a Zionist cuck. And at this point, deculturation's a Zionist normalizer.
Laying that out there, I actually think that he should have a conversation, especially with a group of trans people,
So JB Fontleroy wants Jimmy Dore to promote the LGBTQ agenda. Now on to real life Uncle Ruckus. Let's see what this man has to say about the real life Uncle Ruckus.
And he's gonna get covered. He's gonna get protected by this. Even do dissidents. 2 Jewish men aren't going
do dissidents is a bunch of Zionist cucks. So we don't do dissidents is a bunch of Zionist cucks and soy boy beta males.
After Jimmy Dore. Aren't going after Jimmy Dore for defending a Nazi salute by the richest man on the planet. And to wrap up, 2 people that Jimmy Dore always brings up. Thomas Frank, and then, the glory days of Bernie Sanders. I mean, he was about to do it in Dr. West's interview. Please go check out Dr. Gerald Horne and his work.
Gerald Horne's a grifter. Dude, why are you shilling for real-life Uncle Ruckus Gerald Horne? No actual anti-imperialist would appear on C-SPAN. C-SPAN is basically U.S. government propaganda. Monthly Review, a liberal Zionist publication. Platforms, Gerald Horne. Again, Gerald Horne is a liberal Islamophobe, right? And he's a dirty Protestant Southerner. And look who Gerald Horne endorsed. This is from Cornball West. Cornball West. Gerald Horne endorses Cornball West for President 2024. I deeply thank my dear brother and comrade Gerald Horne for this strong endorsement. He is one of the few great historians of our time. Cornball West. And then Cornball West, or Gerald Horne, the real life Uncle Ruckus, says, as a resident of Texas where the ultra-right has a stranglehold, as a resident of Texas where the ultra-right has a stranglehold on statewide offices and has done so for decades, I am proud to endorse the West Abdullah ticket for president in the Lone Star State. It is well past time to try something new, to embark on a new path. Again, you can't make this up. You got the real life, a man who literally talks like Uncle Ruckus, shills for Zionist China, is featured on a U.S. state propaganda channel, C-SPAN. Let's do if we can do an early life check on Gerald Horne, that would be awesome. Gerald Horne, born 1949, St. Louis, Missouri, and he went to Cal. That's crazy. Again, this washed up, dirty Southern Protestant holds the John Jay and Rebecca Moore chairs of History and African American Studies at the University of Houston. Are you kidding me? Again, Gerald Horne is a puppet of China. Gerald Horne is platformed by U.S. propaganda outlet C-SPAN and liberal Zionist publication, The Monthly Review. And Gerald Horne endorsed Zionist cuck and dirty Southern Protestant Cornball West, who takes money from right-wing douchebag Harlan Crow. Yet, deculturation has no problem with shilling for real-life Uncle Ruckus, Gerald Horne.
In the entirety of this interview with...
Out of Kansas, he's considered a man of the left. And yet, he says that when he went...
Again, sounds like real-life Uncle Ruckus.
With Kansas and Listen Liberal. Jimmy Dore, that's basically his Communist Manifesto. You're in another plane.
So again, doesn't make sense why deculturation, the little clickbait merchant, again, big history of being a clickbait merchant. Bernie calls out Donald Trump. That's clickbait. The whole Ryan Grimm shtick, that's clickbait, right? Cenk Uygur defends MAGA versus Mark Lamont Hill, Zionist on Zionist warfare. More clickbait. And there's a reason why Decolonized Buffalo doesn't rock with him anymore. It's because he's a little clickbait merchant. So, yeah. So that's the scoop on scoop on deculturation. Deculturation platforms has no problem running cover for liberal Zionist, dirty Southern Protestant Cornball West, and he has no problem running cover for Chinese operative and Zionist grifter and washed up boomer academic Gerald Horne, who is literally platformed by U.S. government propaganda outlet C-SPAN and liberal Zionist publication Monthly Review. That's how pathetic deculturation is.